It's Notre Dame football season, everyone. Mike Singer, Tim Hyde, live on YouTube. Moments after Notre Dame crushes Navy 42-3. Hope everyone is doing well on this fine Saturday, late afternoon, early evening. It's obviously late, the time that Notre Dame over in Dublin, Ireland. For Notre Dame knocking off Navy. Blowout victory, nearly perfect. Just a really strong showing by the Fighting Irish, and myself and Tim Hyde will break down the game. Please do hit that thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to our channel for more content. Before we dive into it, please do that. Quick note, Goolsby and I will be live on YouTube tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you check that out as well. But Tim, initial reaction to this victory for the Fighting Irish. What'd you think about the game?
Yeah, it was solid. It was a solid game. I'll be honest, it felt like a scrimmage. And I say that as it was just efficiency upon efficiency. It was whether the defense, these guys were dialed in, man. The defense was locked in. My God, Mike, look at the stats here. I didn't even look at them until now. Navy had 128 yards rushing, 2.7 a carry. Obviously, they had one, the one that went backwards killed the total stats, but still dominant win. Notre Dame offense was just humming. It looked like the first half last year, and we get to, guys want to get into that. We can. They were up, they had 35 at halftime last year, and it was fun to watch. Really nice. Offensive line was unbelievable. Seriously, unbelievable.
Is that the storyline? Tim, is that the storyline for the game for you? That just how dominant that line was? Goodness gracious, those holes were massive.
Yeah, they were solid. They were solid. I'll be very honest with you. I was extremely disappointed. I guess in Navy. I expected Navy to come out guns a-blazing, which they did in that first drive. And I thought they would just play. I just thought they would be a better looking football team. Not that this game was going to be 35-34. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I say it looked like a scrimmage. It looked like Notre Dame was just out there toying with someone. It looked like a Saturday scrimmage, and they're out there just getting their work in. And we're going to see this again next Saturday, and then obviously get ready for NC State. But unbelievable overall performance. Kudos to the coaches. And that's going back to, my main point of a scrimmage. These coaches had these guys prepared for so many things. And efficient football game. It looks like they got out of there nice and healthy. Enjoy the flight back and get ready for another scrimmage next week.
Yeah, no kidding. So
cheer! Oh, holy moly, Mike! Happy birthday to Mike Singer, everybody!
Hey!
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like 3 minutes in, I'm talking about football, Mike. Happy birthday to Mike, everybody!
Hey, this is the post-game show, so I think it's okay to talk football on it. But yes, thank you. 30. Great little way to start off the 30th birthday. Had a great time with family last night.
Nice.
Family, friends, and I got this today. So we'll do this show for somewhere between a half hour and an hour, probably right in the middle there. We'll have Tyler Horko's there, and he's doing a video where he'll talk about the game with him standing on the field. We'll bring you snippets of Notre Dame's press conference with Marcus Freeman. I believe we'll be able to. Notre Dame only allows us to use 3 minutes from those press conferences.
Yeah.
So it's kind of not ideal, but I'll try to post like, hey, here's 3 minutes. Maybe some people don't want to watch the full 15 to 30 minute video, so we'll do that as well. But Tim, let's go to Sam Hartman. 19 of 23, 251 yards, 4 touchdowns. Completion percentage is pretty good at 83. I thought Steve Angeli, with the 100% completion percentage, you like to see that. I'm teasing. But yeah, really strong performance by Hartman.
No, it was what everyone expected. Once again, efficient, hit the dink and the dunk throws early, set up a couple little plays here and there, hitting Salerno, hitting this one through a couple nice out routes. Obviously, I predicted 5 touchdowns, or I said 15 in the 3 scrimmages, which I count this game, next week in Central Michigan. So he's up to 4. So he's got to kick it into gear in one of the games. But no, he was solid. He looked like the guy was there. There was that graphic they put up, NBC did, with how many snaps he's had, and it's thousands.
Right.
So yeah, that's what he looked like. He looked like a 6-year senior. knows what he's doing. Offensively, I'll be very honest with you. It looked exactly the same as last year. They were in personnel way more than anyone's going to expect. I bet you, I mean, I charted it a ton. People don't like duo. They ran duo 90% of the time in their run game, people. So a lot of double tight ends, more Evans and Stays, much more than Great House at slot and things of that nature with the slots. Even when they forced Navy to call a timeout, they went empty. They had 3 tight ends out there. Sherwood was out there in an empty set, which I found interesting. But a lot of the same stuff, and that's going back to a lot of press conferences where players, the media is asking, hey, what's the difference? And the player's like, nothing. It's all the same calls, and we're running the same stuff. And it looked like that. You just had an older 6-year quarterback running the show, and that was a big difference.
Okay, that was a really interesting point there about that. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. My friend Kevin here says there wasn't one. What the heck was that play calling offense today? I love it. Go Irish. And yeah, folks, if you're live with us or if you're watching back, please drop comments. I'm always reading the comments, especially the live ones. I've got several queued up of things that I know I want to talk about, and you guys are want to talk about it as well. So we will do that. By the way, someone on one of our shows last week said, Mike, if Notre Dame wins by more than 30, you got to shave your beard. And I was like, sure, why not? So, next week, I'll get a haircut and everything. I want to look a lot younger now that I've turned 30. But in all seriousness, like Josh here says, Reese, who it's interesting because
I got 12 comments off that. I mean, come on, give me a break. It's literally the same stuff.
It's overreaction Saturday, right?
I mean, overreaction 6 minutes after the game. Yes. People forget Notre Dame went into the game. Here you go, Mike, because I knew that was going to come up, Mr. Mike Singer.
Yep.
Drew Pine, 81% completion percentage in the Navy game last year, by the way. 4 touchdowns, the same amount as Sam Hartman in this game. So they went into that halftime last year, don't forget, at 35 points. Second half was a meltdown. Me, as someone who's coached football for 30 years, saw it because you had Syracuse, Clemson, up big. The whole entire team took a chill pill at halftime, and that's what we remember from last year. So when I say the efficiency part, the scrimmage part, Notre Dame did exactly what Notre Dame does when they're a good football team against a very average Navy team. They destroy them. So that's what they did. So when people say, where's Reese? This is the same offense as last year, guys.
So in terms of, all right, some of the looks might be the same, right? Because also in modern day football, this is what Notre Dame's going to use more tight ends than most, but this was
a surprise. Let's be honest. That was a surprise to see how many snaps Stays and Evans were together.
And
that
we'll
was
have
a surprise to me.
We'll have the snap counts, the snap counts posted at blueandgold.com, I believe, Monday. And Tim and I will talk about it Wednesday because I think that's going to be a really interesting thing. Like, guys, Tim, I wrote this down in my notes. The defense did not have any rotation until the 3rd or 4th drive, I believe. I thought that was interesting. Like Antonio Carter, you think he's coming in and he's going to play this big nothing. And I was curious, man, there's just so much to talk about, Tim. I was wondering, do you think that's something about just it's the triple option, don't rotate much? If it's working, don't change guys? Or do you think it's our ones are just that much better?
It's the media. It's the media that's at practice. And what do we always talk about? The young guys, the up and can't wait to see so-and-so. Oh, we got to get so-and-so. Like someone already posted in the chat, where's Tobias? Exactly. We'll get into that in a few seconds. But you play the best football players. Let's just be honest. And I literally, Mike, it's sitting here in bold red, 3rd drive, backups play a little bit. They gave up a couple first downs. Boom. Starters all go right back in. They did rotate. They did, play some backups and things of that. I mean, they played 3 Vipers. Burnham got in there. So, but with the linebackers, I said this weeks ago, people do not like it whatsoever. The 5th-year senior linebackers are not coming off the field, people.
Yeah.
They've played too much football. You don't put that experience on the bench. And a lot of the DBs, that was really surprising. So many of, going back to your point, the mainstays played, even in the secondary, a ton. And that's probably just the the groove of the game. They're dominating. Let's don't let Navy get back in. But Mickey's a backup. He made some outstanding football plays out there as a backup. I thought the D line was solid once they started getting a good rotation there. Snead played a little bit at will linebacker, but those old guys are going to play. I thought Maris Leafau was all over the place. He looked like the guy everyone talked about in 2021. Broke the ankle, took him a while to get back in the groove. Last year, he was extremely active. J.D. Bertrand looked the same. Kaiser was playing corner, safety, outside backer. He was all, depending on the alignments, he was all over the place. So it was an active group. And going back to Navy just had no oomph, right? They just had no mojo. And I saw this stat. They've only scored 17, 20 points in the last 3 or 4 openers. So I guess when you look at that, it does take them a while to get rolling. And they didn't get nothing rolling. So it was nice to see Notre Dame had a red zone stop. So that was a huge plus.
Right.
But, man, it was a fun football game to just talk about football, see what Notre Dame has. Next week is what it is. And then it's going to be NC State on a noon kickoff, which is going to be another team. Finally, we're going to see a team that's competitive athletically to see what Notre Dame has. So I think there's going to be a huge overreaction. I can't wait to hear Mike talk tomorrow night because it is going to be an overreaction on things.
There's always is, whether it's positive or negative, and
always.
That's why I love the great late loose emoji, and when he would always say the truth lies somewhere in the middle on some of these things. So great. I mean, look, we're over around 550 live viewers as we record this now. It's a little over 12 minutes in. Absolutely fantastic. Trash, really appreciate the $10 super chat. I think Trash, he never posts just regular comments. It's just always super chats from Trash. So I really appreciate all the support, my friend. It's just amazing to see how much this YouTube channel has grown. When we started, it was a pretty dormant channel. And then I started posting stuff around spring of 2020. And then the Clemson game in the fall of 2020 when Notre Dame beat them was really when it kind of took off. So yeah, when I first started doing, I think we had 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. I think we're over 22,000 now. And our YouTube shows are just monstrous. So super blessed to do what I do. I want to go back to the Reese Parker discussion. I've got lots of comments queued up, so keep telling me what you're thinking about the game. I right now I have 11 of them queued up, so really so much to talk about. But Tim, we're going to hear from a sponsor real quick over at My Perfect Franchise. Maybe you're watching this and you could be a displaced corporate executive. Maybe you are looking to put your career in your own hands. Well, if that's you, then you can head over to myperfectfranchise.net, and our friend Andy Ludicky can help you out. Andy is a huge college sports fan and a franchise veteran, having owned multiple franchises and businesses. Using his expertise, Andy will help you find your American dream through a very thorough consultation and evaluation process. Give Andy a call, put your life and career in your own hands, and best of all, his services are 100% free to you. So what do you have to lose? Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net. Okay. So
let me just highlight something. Here's just the second drive of the game, going back to the personnel thing. So they come out, which dead trips, 3x1, 11 personnel, then it's 12, doubles, which was 11. Wildcat, that was the Wildcat drive with Payne. Then the touchdown with Price, where you hit duo up, there was 12 personnel. So there's half the drive was in 12. The first drive, half the drive was in 12. So a lot. That was fascinating to me, how they played so many 2 tight ends. But also, it still goes back to the personnel. We could talk about all these wide receivers we want. It's gonna come down to the season against the big boys is gonna come down to those wide receivers being dudes against other teams' DBs, DBs that could run with them. Today was a little bit different. So that was a little bit interesting how Notre Dame really stuck to their guns, what they've done the last 3-4 years, the type of program that they've become, during the Brian Kelly 2.0, as we always call it. where they did a lot of double tight ends, and they definitely did that today with Parker.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that they played as much as they did. And I think the biggest difference in being like, oh, look, that Parker, the two big things for me, like, oh, that Parker offense is so much better than Reese. The quarterback difference, right? I liked Pine more than you guys did, but still, I will tell you, Hartman is a far and maybe I was just like, you just watch so much Notre Dame football with just not great quarterback play, and that's just kind of what you come to expect. And then you get Sam Hartman out there, and it's like, holy crap, you know. Like Pine would have some of those, 75 plus completion percentage gains, but didn't look like that. Did not look like that. So I think that's one thing, right? Your quarterback is just far superior, and then the second thing, you're playing Navy.
Yeah.
So you know, I wouldn't say though that people like if people want to say, oh, Parker is a far superior offensive coordinator to Tommy Reese. They might not be wrong. We'll just have to see. I just don't know if you can come to that conclusion based off this one game because
No.
everything Notre Dame was doing was clicking. And I think that's because you have Hartman. I love the receivers. We'll dive into them, and then you're playing Navy.
And that just keeps going back to last year, which people want to blame. I look at it as the situation the program was in. The situation the program was in was the limited amount of wide receivers they had. Let's don't forget, last spring, the offense was going to be built around Avery Davis, correct? Who had been 2 years out of slot. Wilkins coming into his 5th year. They're injured. They're out. Then it's literally, where's Waldo, as I called it all last year? Where's Michael Mayer? Michael Mayer never lined up 2 plays in a row all season. The dude was all over the place. And that goes back to Reese trying to highlight him because he had to. Who were you going to highlight last year? Tobias Merriweather, who lined up wrong half the time in practice. That's why he didn't play. There's even reports of him doing that again this year in camp, where Stuckey threw him out of practice. And then what did we get from Tobias today? Nothing. I mean, seriously, a drop, a bad route. I mean, he looks like a dude that's just in chill mode half the time. So, and the one time they're trying to throw him deep, Hartman undershot. There were 2 plays though. There were for 2022 PTSD guys. It looked like the one short one that looked like Pine throwing it short, correct, Tobias, and then the Navy guy is a millimeter away from a pick 6. I was like, oh my God, we almost had a Buckner play and a Pine play. So that was interesting. But overall, I want to give I'm going to keep coming back to the O-line. The O-line was outstanding. Yeah. The guards were outstanding. Spindler, I think it was on Price's touchdown, knocks 2 dudes away, or maybe it was on a 3rd down run by Estime. He was good. Coogan was solid. The tackles, there's one where Fisher's, oh my God, the poor Navy guy, Mike. The guy couldn't have been 198 pounds. Fisher's 20 yards down the field, just throwing them. Yeah. And it was an efficient, dominant game from the offensive line. More so in pass pro as well. Pass pro was outstanding.
Yeah. Hartman did get, he got hit. I remember him getting hit on the Cooley completion, which was a really nice throw and catch.
It was a delay. I think that was a linebacker delay blitz where they were shooting off the running back, and the backer opposite the running back shot the gap, got him late. And there was a couple late blitzes where they I think he only got hit, I want to say maybe twice. Hartman, another thing real quick on Sam Hartman, he's not Ian Book, because Ian Book would have taken off and ran a couple times, but his elusiveness, the way he moves, finds little throws. He threw a couple nice little, little dump routes. He must have thrown 5 or 6 dump routes today. Yeah. Just, hey, go get me 5, 6, 7 yards. And that was impressive.
Book was good, but like Hartman is Book if Book could sit in the pocket more and read a defense. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, but he did at times, and he gets such a bad rap sometimes where he would sit in the pocket. Well, it's the overreaction, and the O-line was just there. I mean, there was one time where Navy just did drop 7, your standard 4-3 rush, and the O-line was just like, you're not even getting off the line. Yeah, and it was just piece of cake. So, and that was. It's a great film game. It's a great teaching for Rudolph, Guduli, all these guys, Stuckey, all these guys on offense to keep working because obviously it's going to get harder. It won't next week, but the following week it definitely will. Great teaching tape.
Yeah.
Just to keep picking up things, stunts, because they did see a lot. And Navy did bring the house a few times. I want to say real quick.
Sure.
I was going to text you this, but I said I'll do it anyway. The play of the game, the thing I've been complaining about for 2 years is a running back who could cut in the hole. And holy cow, can Mr. Love cut? There's one play. Everybody, I went back and slow mode it like 10 different times. Navy's got 9 in the box. They're bringing 6. Safety rolls up. They have 9 dudes within a couple yards of the box. Love is going to the right. It's the one he gets stuffed to play before. On this one, he gets 11 yards, I believe. The Navy guy's about ready to make a tackle. Rocco's locked on his guy, and he just cuts, has 2 different cuts and goes for 11 yards. I highlighted that right here, like play of the game for me, because there's a guy that's going to get the experience that's going to make those things. And that goes back to what people get upset when they, they think tailback's running in the A gap. That's what duo is. It's one-on-one blocking, one-on-one. The running back's got to make a play against one defender. Love did that. And I said, that dude's going to be a difference maker sooner than later, which was very nice to see from him today.
Yeah. I want to get into more of the running backs too, because you did see all 5 of those guys get carries. Or Devin Ford only got 1. But I could have sworn he got more than 1, but official stats only say he got 1. Did have a reception for 9 yards as well on a little check down. Yeah. Want to just say this real quick, Tim. That starting 5 offensive line, everyone liked to dog on Jeff Quinn. Left tackle, Joe Alt, 2021 class. Yeah. Jeff Quinn. Left guard, Pat Coogan, 2021 class, Jeff Quinn. Zeke Carell was that 2019 class. Yes. That's when Harry left. Yes. And you go back and read quotes from Carell talking about Quinn. Jeff Quinn recruit. Spindler, Fisher, also class of 20. So 4 of the 5 guys Notre Dame signed in that 2021 class are starting on the offensive line right now. Who's and Michael or the kid who flipped from Auburn, Caleb Johnson, who's now left. Mm-hmm. He was the other player in that class. Just kind of a side note, people will get mad at me for that. But
I told you, I said this on our Wednesday night live show, Mike, that with Coogan today as a 3-star, the first true 3-star to start an opener since Nick Martin in 2015. That's
good company.
O-line U has had dudes in recruiting. So kudos to Pat Coogan, who I thought played solid.
Yeah.
Very impressed by Spindler today as well.
I think it was that Price touchdown where Alt and Coogan, and I want to say Evans comboed with Alt.
Yes.
Just parted the Red Sea. Goodness gracious. Those running backs got to be so excited right now. 32 rushes, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns estimated, and Price gets in on his first ever carry. Average 6 yards per carry. Timmy, do you mind if we get to some super chats?
Yeah. I was just going to say, I haven't really seen. Can you just throw up the stats while you're reading them?
Of course.
I just want to see the running back stats. Yeah. I mean, look at it. They just spread that thing around, didn't they?
So Paul says, thought Angeli should have played much more and tried to score. I mean, I would have loved to see that. But I want to say, as soon as they hit 42 points, which let me see when that was. They hit 42 points.
New clock.
There was 12 minutes left. I think that point it was Angeli. But then Navy's drive took 8 minutes and 21 seconds. So it just killed the clock. So that's just kind of part of it. Notre Dame had quick scoring drives, like a minute 52, a minute 42. They had, the 6:28. I mean, oh my goodness, the offense looked fantastic. But yeah, Paul, I agree. I thought Angeli's little pass out to Flores was the most beautiful 2-yard pickup in the history of college football. But in all seriousness, I'm still glad that he got some experience out there playing in Navy.
Yeah, he did a good job. He looked like last year, good job handing off, finishing the game. There's nothing wrong with that.
Did you just
good experience?
Keep your mouth shut. You're going to get suspended like you did the last time.
Repping for A&M tonight. Good job.
Andrew Kilmore says, is Greathouse the best freshman receiver since Michael Floyd? He looked awesome. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, once again, I mean, you got to 1,000% no disrespect, Andrew, but yeah, I mean, Navy looked like me tonight covering guys. He got open. He had some nice routes, obviously beautiful passes. the one touchdown, he had no one on him. Navy starts all the guys start running after Hartman. He's like, here's a little dump pass to you. So Floyd was a dude against the big boys. So Great House will be judged by Ohio State and whatnot. So saying is he the best freshman since Floyd?
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'll say yes. At the end of the day, his stats will be there because so many of these. I'm thinking of, oh my God, I'm just thinking of guys, that have all played in the league since Floyd, Claypool, St. Brown, my God, Tim, Will Fuller. You guys know who I'm talking about as I'm trying to rattle here live is, all those guys sat as freshmen. So Great House, yes, is going to be the best since Floyd. But Michael,
Andrew says, not saying he is Floyd, saying since Floyd yet. Yeah, for sure. I think that is.
No, I hear you. He's definitely the best since Floyd out of all this group of freshmen that we've seen in the last dozen years. Sure.
Yeah. He is a dude for sure. 3 receptions, 68 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, his first touchdown, that's 35 yards, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful pass. It was, man, I'm just going to keep saying this. Very efficient, very, very, just great job by the coaches just getting these guys ready to come and play today. I mean, really, they didn't come out here, hang out and kick the can around and wait. It goes back to the opening drive, 6.5, 7 minute drive of just boom, 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 going right down the field. So, and real quick before we get to another one, Mike, I'm always big on run game efficiency. Going back to the O-line, I charted them at 78%, meaning 4 yards or more, or if you need third or 2, you get the first down. 78% today. So 7 for 9 on the opening drive. So unreal by those guys today.
Yep. Andrew, appreciate the super chat. We've got one from Eric here. How much can we take away from this game? Navy is such a different animal. I feel like you can't really tell us much. What's your guys' opinion? I mean, Notre Dame went out and did what they were supposed to do. If Notre Dame struggled today, there would be a lot to take away. So I feel I don't like there's the context of we can't get too high from this game, but also you shouldn't say, oh man, there's nothing to gauge here, because there's a lot of good things that you saw on the football field. And, Navy might not have the highest ranked, most coveted recruits out there, but it's still a FBS football team that Notre Dame just shellacked. So Tim, what do you think?
No, I agree. It's game one. You don't know what you're going to get in a game one. Is Navy going to come? I mean, who would have thought, man? What if Notre Dame fumbles, the estimate one? What if when he fumbles and Navy recovers that different momentum that starts that game after he fumbled? Who knows? Maybe if Navy goes, Navy had a guy wide open, don't forget, on that 4th down. When they ran through, there's a touchdown right there. The whole game starts to change. Navy was not efficient with their opportunities. Notre Dame was. And that's, as Mike just said, higher ranked football players showed up today in the game, and it showed. So not to take away, I will take away Notre Dame looked good. They got some good football players. Next week's going to be a good scrimmage. Hope you all come back. We'll still talk about it as we get ready for a really, really tough road trip against NC State.
Yep, folks, please do hit that thumbs up on this video. Maybe this is your first time interacting on our channel, and maybe that's you, and you're just kind of looking for your Notre Dame fix. Subscribe. We have 5 live shows that we do throughout the week, including tomorrow night with former Notre Dame captain and linebacker Mike Goolsby, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that'll be on Sunday. So please subscribe to the channel. You can hit the little bell notification too, so you don't miss a video. And it's not just live shows as well. We have different recruiting updates, press conference reaction, all that good stuff. So please do subscribe to the channel. We got a nice little super chat here from my friend Susan. She says, 30 years old, great Irish win, special day, happy birthday, Mr. Singer. Thank you very much. I gotta shoot Coach Freeman a text and thank him for shellacking Navy to make this show a lot easier. If it was another 35-32, I think that was the score last year, this would have been a struggle of a show. And would have been a lot more stressful for me. And then seeing all the message board freak out over that would not have been ideal. Which, by the way, you have, I think, 6 hours as we record this to sign up for. Maybe they'll extend it another day. I don't know, but 50% off your first year of premium access over at blueandgold.com. So please do check that out. But yeah, Susan knows all about it. She's a member on our website, so please do be like Susan and check out the website. Matt also says, happy birthday. Thank you so much. What is the biggest area you think needs improvement? What was your biggest surprise of the game? Area of improvement for me, Tim, I'll go first and you can think about this.
Sure.
I want to see more improvement from Tobias Merriweather. Tim, I think when I asked you for expectations for Merriweather, he was like, I want to be the number one receiver.
Yeah.
So he had just the one target, no, 2 targets, a drop, and then the one that probably would have been a touchdown. But Hartman was a little late on the throw there, which I think that's probably the only real blunder from Hartman on the day that I can remember. But that's probably the biggest area of improvement is just from that one guy for me. That at least that comes up top of my head. Biggest surprise of the game. I would say maybe the lack of defensive rotation early in the game. I didn't expect to see very, very little to none. I think Snead actually got in on the first snap defensively, and then I don't think I saw him after that, or maybe got a few snaps. But yeah, I think that was the only real surprise. I was like, I just didn't expect to not see Antonio Carter until like the fourth quarter or whatever it was, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, no, those are all great points. The defensive rotation, but I mean, it's game one. You go with your dudes, and they went with the guys, the vets. They went with the best football players, and I mean, this is the reason why I think anything less than 10 wins is a disappointment this year. There are a lot of older upperclassmen playing football for Notre Dame that have been on the field the last few years. So there's a lot of elder statements out there, statement that should be playing, that are playing, will play. I thought the biggest surprise was definitely Tobias. And when we talked about that, we did that little TikTok you wanted me to do. It's going back to history. Notre Dame have had, what I think I rattled off 4, 5, 6 guys that have gone from 0 to 1,000 as a sophomore. Tobias does not look like that at all, which was just shocking. So, I mean, he throws a bubble to get him running, right? Get him on the perimeter, and he drops it. But defense, I thought the linebackers looked fast as could be. Those dudes are flying around. D-line was active. I was surprised. How about this? I was surprised Josh Burnham played in a 3-point stance. Is he better in a 3-point than, Botello and Tuli Alamaka were always in a 2-point. So when he came in, he was a 3-point, tight 5 technique, hard on that C-gap shoulder. So that was a little surprise.
Yeah, he gets credit for that sack. Shout out to Gabe Rubio. Really made that happen too. He just blew by the interior offensive lineman. So shout out to Gabe Rubio. Glad to see that whole career backup, as Tim would say, shine there.
Yes. Now it's year 3, but I'll be I'm very surprised at how much. I did not expect to see the running backs like a hockey game. I did not. I was not expecting that many of those dudes to just be rolling in like that a ton. And they did a little wildcat with Payne. So I thought that was interesting. How they rotated those guys. So I thought that was it was nice because they're all really good looking football players too. When you get them out there, you can see Price obviously had the one burst and he had a few stuffs. He didn't show a lot of wiggle. I mean, the one touchdown straight ahead. Love is the guy. Like, you could see it the first time. Even when I think his first time he touched it, he got stuffed. But you're like, oh boy, you could see something there. No, I think the first time he got the 10-yard run where he just looked faster than everybody when they were in 4 wides. And
does he look kind of long and lean to you, Jeremiah Love? Like you want to see him get another 10 pounds?
Yeah, I don't care. Just
okay.
I mean, my favorite football player of all time is Eric Dickerson. I love Eric Dickerson. Tall, long, and just ran over people. I love ED back in the heyday. But that's who Love's always reminded me of, this tall, lean guy and run off tackle. God, man, can you imagine get him? There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way for him to move up to the number 2 guy here in the next few games, to where he's getting a dozen carries. He's got a burst on him that is real. No doubt about that.
Yeah. I did like the amount of rotation. I just don't think that's going to be when Notre Dame plays an NC State or
Ohio State.
Or Ohio State. I mean, we can talk about 5-headed monster all we want, but you're not going to take off a rested Estime. Like, if Estime's not tired and he's just I mean, he's just cruising. Like, you don't want to take him off the field. That's just kind of how it goes. Like when you watch the NBA playoffs, those benches or your team goes from playing like 9 or 10 to what, 7, right? You only got like 2 guys coming off the bench. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. Like you're going to play your best guys the very most. So like, yeah. And Estime, I thought it was kind of weird that Angeli was handing off to Estime late in the game. Like,
Estime,
I understand that.
Yeah, that was surprising to see him, unless they were trying to get him 100 yards. Because he ended with 95. That's why I went like the stats. Like, are they trying to get him 100? Why is he out there?
Why? I mean, what is it that for NIL he needs 100 yards? Like, why? I didn't get that. Like,
T-shirt deal he's got. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Estime, rest the man. It was just kind of weird.
Hey, can you throw the stats up real quick? Did
what do you want to see?
Receiving I mean, Notre Dame is obviously tight end U. Tight end pass, right?
Yeah, that's been I've seen that in the comments a good bit. People are talking about that.
They played a ton and they didn't catch any passes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No targets. I mean,
I'll have to go back and rewatch it to see if there was any moments to throw it.
All right, I need you to jot that down, Tim. When I text you Wednesday morning about topics for the show Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, by the way, we'll talk about that. That's a really interesting thing. I don't just on thinking about it, nothing really to react for me. I mean, Hartman was just dealing down the field that, I don't think there's anything, at least just on watching the game, that's like, oh, wow, they're not going to throw the tight ends this year.
No.
I don't know. I think that might be a little bit of reaction. I tend to think that Holden Stays is going to be,
and I'll chart. Yeah, and I'll I mean, obviously, I always rewatch the game. I'll chart that different to see if how much Stays Evans ran routes. But I mean, the dunk to Salerno and Tyree had a nice one over the middle. Couple, like I said, nice out route. Hit Thomas once, Colsey once. So yeah, I guess it was really quick. A lot of the passing game was just real quick.
Yep.
So
Tom with 20. Yep, Tom with $20 super chat. Really appreciate it. He says offensive line dominated. Game still played in the trenches. So or can be won or lost oftentimes. Is that more it was Navy, or are we going to dominate like this more often than not? I think the latter, Tim.
I'll let you know midnight, September 23rd.
Well, more often than not, I think this Notre Dame offensive line is just going to just destroy people.
They're Coogan. I mean, Coogan looks massive. I don't know. I mean, his weight. They only list him at 300. He just looks huge. He looks like he could hang out with Joe Alt all day. They look like twins out there. Spindler's thick as could be. Spindler catches a little, as the Goolsby will talk tomorrow night, because he's slow of foot. But man, when he puts his 330 pounds on you, no one moves. He just locks on and just keeps road grading you. So there's no way Coogan's 303. That dude's got to be 325 pounds. There's no way. He is huge. Seriously, unless he's just like long and lean, he looks massive. So It was nice seeing some big dudes up there. And Zeke looks the same, little feisty little, pit bull in there with all these trees around him.
Right.
So, but O-line got after it. I mean, to me was the linebackers flying around looked like maniacs out there, and the O-line for how efficient they were up there. So solid. We'll see the same next week. There'll be a little jet lag. They got to be focused, just handle business, and then we'll start getting into some real football here soon.
Man, I love just the YouTube chat has just been fantastic. Like, what I have not seen yet, Tim, and maybe I've missed a couple comments.
Don't do it.
No one has talked about the announcers. We're talking football here. Let's freaking go. I love it.
Which, by the way, I thought I was, just background listening when Garrett did some of the breakdowns and all that. See, I like that stuff. That was solid. That's solid announcing when he's breaking down plays, and he broke down the double post to Thomas. He's that's an NFL route. And sure enough, exactly. Double post. You read the second guy outside all the time. You had the Evans running the crosser, pulls in a guy, boom, wide open up top. So.
The Collinsworth replacement, I forget them. Like he struggled at times, but what do you expect? It's like if you asked me to go do a South Carolina post-game show after not knowing anything about South Carolina. Of course I wouldn't be great.
Exactly.
And Garrett's just a football guy. He might not be a Notre Dame guy.
Yep.
Which is why I
Track
just
and
wish
ball.
they could get a Brady Quinn or just someone like that. But that's a different discussion.
Speaking of that, how about the pregame show real quick? I watched it on Peacock, and it's all you got a USC quarterback, an Ohio State linebacker. I forgot who the others all, but I guess they're getting ready for Big Ten, right? So there you go.
Yeah, Chris says Garrett's fine. Yeah, that's as much as we're going to spend on this.
Yes,
but Tom Sardi, again, I really do appreciate on that super chat. I have got 12 questions queued up. We are going to I'll go ahead and hear from one of our longtime sponsors here at Blue and Golden, and that's, of course, Augie's Locker Room. Guys, it is Notre Dame football season. Irish off to a 1-0 start to the 2023 campaign after crushing Navy 42-3. Notre Dame will have Tennessee State this upcoming Saturday, and if you're coming in for that game, you got to make time for Augie's Locker Room. They have a wide selection of Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, one-of-kind Rockety items. You can find exclusive Joe Montana signed items and famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues around the stadium. Augie gets new items all the time, and if he doesn't have what you're looking for in store, just let him know, and he will go find it for you. When you're in town, visit Augie at 1811 South Bend Avenue and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. Augie has amazing items that you will want to see. Visit augieslockerroom.com. For folks watching on YouTube, you can, as I scroll some of these items, it's a long page. There's a lot more there. So yeah, visit augieslockerroom.com, or you can give them a call, 574-277-6363. That's 574-277-6363. My buddy Kale says everyone thought Deion Colzie was buried on the depth chart, and he impressed today. Tim, I thought there was a lot of receiver rotation early in the football game, and Deion Colzie, he had that nice kind of leaping catch when Hartman got hit.
Yes.
Stays made a really nice block on his screen, 25-yard touchdown. It wasn't the most difficult thing that he did on that touchdown. It was pretty much just there for him, but a nice show of burst by Colzie. 3 receptions on 3 targets, 45 yards in a touchdown. Bub says nice game for Colzie. Yeah, Tim, I was pretty pleased by Colzie. Was glad to see him get a ton of play. Thoughts on him? Were you surprised?
No, exactly. I mean, the touchdown, heck of a block, and he just runs it straight in. I mean, it was solid. I mean, Colzie's been that, in that second half of last year where he had some big catches, started to play more of a role. He's a huge target, and that's the thing with Notre Dame fans. When you see Colzie and Tobias, we're always thinking Claypool, Boykin, Equimini and St. Brown. We're thinking these big, tall guys to just go up and take over, and they haven't done it yet. So Colzie had a nice game, good, efficient game, 3 catches, 3 targets, solid. Yeah, the one on the out route where Hartman's getting hit, and it's kind of a bad ball to Colzie, great catch by him. So
yeah,
solid ball game.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I just think that guy's like, Tim's not a big Colzie guy at all. You're not the biggest, and not that you don't like Colzie. You're just
it's going back to that body. Notre Dame fans, when you see that body, when you see that, once again, you're like, okay, that's the next Claypool.
Yeah,
that's the next St. Brown. That's the next this guy, and it hasn't clicked in.
Yeah,
and this goes back to my point. I know Mike Goolsby's talked about this. Is heck, ESPN Game Day talked about it. They're like, all the guys on the set today were talking about Hartman. They're going to be good, but then they're all like, well, who is the dude that's going to take the top off of defense in the big games? And that's still the question. We're not going to get that against Navy. We're not going to get that against Tennessee State. It's going to come, and that's going to be the question for this offense down the road.
Yeah.
It's true. We could say it. People will be upset with that, but it is a true statement.
Let's talk about it. Who on this, and just real quick.
Sure.
On this receiver room, Jaden Thomas, fantastic. I want to talk about Thomas on Wednesday. I want to go through his story and my thoughts about him. We just don't talk about that enough. Not to take the top off the defense guy. Jaden Greathouse, love him. He's not. Colzie is not. He's more of a possession guy who's outstanding. At least in my, maybe not outstanding, but he's made some nice contested catches.
Yeah, since the second half of last year till tonight. When the balls come his way, he has made plays for Notre
Yeah.
Dame in the last, 6 games, total games, 7 games they played.
Those 3rd and longs last year, Pines flying him on the drags.
Yes.
I think Colsey's a really good football player. Chris Tyree, he's got the speed. He's just not going to be like
He's going to be a seam guy. He got the PI. That would have been a touchdown right there on the nice deep seam.
But
So those are the things.
He's not taking the top off the defense, though, in your traditional wide receivers sense. Salerno's not. Flores is not.
So it's going to go back to a dink and dunk.
That's it, right?
It's going to go back to a dink and dunk. And when you get teams playing quarters man straight across the board, find the guy that can win a one-on-one matchup. And that's going to be the thing.
In terms of okay, I'm not saying that Thomas is not going to be able to have big gains through the air, but in your traditional, when you think of Randy Moss running a 9 route, he's going to run by everyone. Tobias is the only guy on the roster who has that skill set, in my opinion. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. So that's why Tobias is just so freaking important for me. Unless it's just a dink and dunk offense, but then what are teams going to do?
You can't. Well, that goes back to one of the gentlemen who did the super chat earlier about what do you take away from this game? Exactly. You could dink and dunk like the 7-minute opening drive, hit a Salerno, hit a hitch here. You could do those things against Ohio State SC, where athlete is matched up, stud against stud.
Yeah,
a different type of thing. Then you have to be efficient times 10. To actually go and move the ball and do the things in those elite games, those big games, which Notre Dame has a handful of those, this year. Tobias is the key. There's no doubt about it. We've talked about it a ton. He is the key. Greathouse's touchdown. He's basically was they're in a tight bunch. He's the tight end right there. He's a wing tight end that's going running the seam against and beats a safety. So he's going to have to get matched up in a few big games to hit those down the road. So there's not that guy that takes the top off, which goes back to how do you compete for a national title if you don't have those guys? I guess but we'll find out, because Notre Dame's going to have multiple games this year against top 5, top 10 teams to see what happens.
Just scrolling Twitter to see if I've missed much.
Hey, real quick, I found that interesting.
Go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say Horka's picture. He at the press conference. I found that interesting. The 3 that were sent out.
Yes,
those are 3 of the prime football players from today.
Yep, I just was looking at that. So it was Maris Leofold, Jaden Greathouse, and Sam Hartman spoke with the media. Looking at a tweet, Marcus Sherman says the play of Jaden Greathouse is a reflection of the recruiting and development under Chancey Stuckey. Stuckey, I'm a huge fan of, for sure. Super chat just came in from Tom with another one. Really appreciate this, friend. He said, what are the thoughts on Parker? He called a pretty conservative game. Once again, was that because we dominated Navy, didn't need to show much? I felt confident they would score every time, and they did, except for the one where didn't settle for a field goal and it was missed. But I don't know about conservative, Tim. What would you say about this?
Yeah, I got my brand new notebook here, and I chart play by play. I set formations, down and distance, make little notes. I don't think it was conservative. If it's 3rd and 2, he's going to hit the quick hitch, move the chains, or hand off the estimate and go run for a first down. They took some deep shots when they had the moments. I don't think it was conservative. I don't. Once again, I think it was efficient. So a very efficient game. Excuse me. I keep going back to the Salerno, the Tyree over the middle, the little 10-yard dump they hit to him one time, and then the run game. I guess it was conservative because of the way they just manhandled the front 7 of Navy. They got hat on a hat and just moved the pile. Like I said, when you're 78% run game efficiency, that is insane. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Tom, really appreciate the super chat here. Dave, going back to the receiver discussion, take the top off the defense, and Goolsby loves Braylon James. Yeah. I didn't talk about him just because when I went through, as I was listening to all those guys, I was looking at the stats. Braylon James was not a guy who got to play. Did he play? Did you see Braylon James out there 14?
I'll be honest with you. No. If he played, he got out there and he blocked,
Yeah.
at the end. So that
So
I wouldn't know.
it's one of those things where in the 2020 season when everyone's calling for Jordan Johnson nonstop, I'm not saying that Braylon James is going to be Jordan Johnson. I'm just saying like sometimes there's a reason. Like maybe Braylon James isn't ready, but when Braylon James is, he would definitely be like he's that type of speedster for
Sure.
sure.
But
Easy downfield.
Tyler. Yeah, but Tyler Orkus talked about him during camp of when he's gotten in. It's he's basically a third string, so it's 3s-on-3s. He's made a lot of plays. He's got some touchdowns in 7-on-7s in the 3s-on-3s when they're getting their 11-on-11 action. So he has done things during the camp. He's just not up to the other guys' level. And it goes back to our comment, Mike. My God, on signing day, where we said, Mike Goolsby said as well, Flores is going to play because of the high school he's from.
Yeah.
Greathouse is going to play because of the high school he's from. Two of the elite high school programs that throw the football in America. And those two guys have just stuck to that rhythm all throughout.
Yeah. When you say the high school, like, yeah, that helped develop them. Like those guys are just came in ready to play. It really helps that they were early.
They know how to run a curl. They know how to run a hitch. They know how to run a 5-yard outbreak. They know how to do those basic little things because those high schools they're from were elite passing high school programs.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Mendoza says, first time I've been on here live, or Mrs. I guess we don't have a first name. It's the first time I've been on here live. Great job, fellas. Love listening to you guys on my way to and from work. Love to hear that. The live component of these shows are fantastic. Of course, we put all of our shows now on podcast format as well. But we always love you guys on here live. Speaking of love, Trash with another $5 super chat says, is Love the next Folston, Procise, or Adams?
Well, I called him Josh Adams when he signed. I said that off of his highlight film, the way he would just, run. It's still getting over the cold. Run east-west, cut and go 80 on his highlight film, which Josh Adams had 150-yard runs. It seemed like during his time at Notre Dame. He reminds me of Adams, just the way he cuts on inside zone and can break. So out of those three, he just reminded me of Adams since day one. Probably the body, the length, things of that nature, the body frame. So Josh Adams could run as good as anyone in Notre Dame's history, and Love's going to be that guy, man. Holy moly, he is going to be that guy.
Tim, are you ready for some rapid fire?
Sure. Start throwing them.
Josh says, watching the 2-minute drill before the half was great. That was nice to see, Tim.
Yes. I'll just say yes. I literally charted that down. 2-minute drill, Sam Hartman, see what happens. Yes. Outstanding. Great comment. Perfect.
Yep. BR Irish Boy says, we're missing the forest for the tree here, guys, but Rocco and Pat really played well. I mean, this was posted almost 45 minutes ago. So I know we've covered that a little bit, but yeah, Tim, thoughts on these two guys?
Exactly. I mean, they came into this game playing PAT for a couple of years, right? I don't think Pat Coogan even played PAT. I know Rocco did last year, so that's been their amount of their playing time, and you could see the reason why Joe Rudolph. I mean, once again, let's go Joe Rudolph, brand new coach, got hired late, correct? Hired late after Harry, resigned, and he just came in and started meeting the guys and things of that. And he talked about this in his multiple press conferences of having lots of meetings to learn these guys. And here he goes into camp after spring ball. Both these guys were backups in spring ball, and has an open competition at the guard. And these guys come from basically, I keep saying nowhere, but no one expected them to start, and here they are starting, and they blocked their tails off today. So, I mean, it's just great as a coach to see guys rise up, and they definitely have in year 3. Nothing against Billy Schrauff. I'm sure Billy's going to go somewhere, and I mean, maybe they move one of these guys to center, and Billy's the guard next year. Who knows? So, I'm sure Billy will get some playing time, but we talked about this again real quick on Wednesday night. Do you rotate guys? Heck no. Heck no. You let those 5 just go out there and just steamroll Tennessee State, play the backups when it's time to play the backups, and get ready for NC State, which is going to be a big test. Central Michigan, and then it's the Super Bowl on September 23rd. Let them just keep getting ready.
Do you remember what the second team O-line was?
It was at the end.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
I know it was at the end. I was running up here. I saw Tosh Baker once.
Yeah, I
So
saw Tosh Baker, I saw Craig, but I didn't jot that down
yeah, I'm
as well.
sure. I mean, the second team all camp has been Wagner, Baker, Craig at center, and then Billy Schrauf and Christophic. So I'm sure that was the five. So
Yep. Lux ND, my boy says your offense was beautiful. I certainly agree. J Carr, a friend of the show, says Burnham, Botello, and Anye look good. Yeah, Botello looked. I was pretty impressed with him.
fantastic athlete, and Botello, Anye. I mean, seriously, all three of those guys. That was a good little rotation. It was fascinating to see three Vipers play, and Burnham got some good love out there. But yeah, Botello was a darn good looking athlete, man. Physical against the run. So really good job by him.
Yep. And then Chris says, yeah, tight ends caught 0 balls. Were they ever targeted? No, but Tim and I aren't really concerned about that right now, Tim. I mean, no, there's not a Michael Mayer on there, but did Notre Dame did they struggle through the year? No, I'm not concerned about that. Maybe if the offense stunk, Hartman was struggling. It's like, all right, where are the tight ends to help? Then maybe you're concerned. But right now, I have no issues with this. But any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's on my notes. I'm going to go back. I'm sure Mike Goolsby will check it out tomorrow night. But yeah, that's going to be one of my things I do in rewatching it and see what were the routes, how did they move. And I think if they were going to throw the tight ends, he was already quick releasing to Salerno and some of the other quick hots that he did. So, which those hot reads were on the money. I want to go back to a couple of the scrambles. I want to see, Hartman had like 3 or 4 scrambles. And that's the thing. Is he trying to hit Evans and Evans is just covered up or something? So I'll look for that in the rewatch. You're on mute.
All right, thank you, my friend. John says, how many freshmen played? You got Jeremiah Love was 1, Greathouse 2, Flores 3. Don't know about the offensive line. I don't know if any true freshmen played on the offensive line. Defensive line, I don't know.
Special teams, Bowen and Flanagan. I did not. I'll be honest with you. I didn't study the special teams. Bowen and Flanagan were supposed to be shooters on one of those units.
Yeah. And then I know Christian Gray played in the secondary, and then probably special teams. So I think 5, 6. So yeah, you're definitely getting a good bit of true freshman playing at Notre Dame right now. And John also said, can we have Sam for more than 1 year? Can we get some kind of petition to the NCAA to get Sam Hartman for another year? That would be fantastic. And Mason said, at what point are we concerned about Tobias? I mean, if he has a stinker against Tennessee State, I mean, then I guess maybe. But right now,
I mean, we'll find out. We'll find. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, Tennessee State's gonna be the biggest overreaction on earth because I'm expecting 55-3 or whatever the heck it's gonna be. But probably won't be that much because Notre Dame's gonna run the ball out and get the heck out of there because they're gonna be jet lagged. But
right.
Yeah, when are we concerned about Tobias? If it just continues. If Hartman's like, I'm going to throw that guy. I'm trusting these guys more. And I mean, let's just be real. It's going to be NC State. The noon kickoff. Hartman has struggled against NC State over the years because they play that 3-3 stack. Safeties all over the field. Tons of different robber rotation coverages those guys do. That's going to be an interesting game to see if they try and go up top. But I mean, Mike, you said it 20 minutes ago. Tobias is the guy. They got to hit him on a go route somewhere. He's got to be the guy out of that group.
Yeah. And Ray says, I agree. No concern for TM right now. Bob says, like, what did Tobias do wrong? Yeah, dropped 1 pass. And then says, Tobias was wide open on that long ball. But yeah. But the thing is, if the expectations for Tobias Merriweather are, you could go be the leading receiver and you have 0 catches and a 42-3 win. It's something you got to talk about.
Hartman's thrown 4 touchdowns and on pace for 300 yards or whatever he was today. I know he's under it, but the clock took away a series, definitely the way those new clock rules are. But You're right, Mike. It goes back to a point where Tobias was anointed last year because of the mess which you've covered in recruiting with wide receivers. It's true. He's coming in. He's the guy. He's a top 150 player, big time prospect. Brian Kelly bolts. They keep Tobias in the class, right? Because the other two guys all leave. So he becomes this savior, so to speak. I felt like from Notre Dame fans, Tobias, everything, because he stayed. I truly believe that. He stayed in the class. Everyone just made him out to be this great guy. And he just hasn't done it. Just hasn't lived up to it. Now you got Hartman, guy with 100 some odd touchdown passes. I mean, they're rattling off his career today. He passed like 2 or 3 guys in yards tonight. And he's going to move. I think he may end up being the 3rd touchdown guy if he reaches 30 this year in the history of college football. Yeah. So it's like, when is it going to click in for that guy? And maybe who knows, man? Maybe it doesn't. And Hartman's like, I'm going to go to the other guys.
Yeah. Again, if Matt Salerno had 0 catches today, we wouldn't be like, when are we going to be concerned about Matt Salerno? Because we're not expecting Matt Salerno to be the number 1 receiver on this team.
You're right.
Or that's not even a discussion. But for Merriweather, it's like, oh, what did he do wrong? Well, not necessarily other than the drop pass. Like, no, he didn't maybe not do anything wrong, but like, why is everyone else getting all these passes and Tobias is not? Like, if the expectations are very high and he has 0 catches, we're going to talk about it like that. That's again, not concerned yet. Let's talk about, let's see how things go next Saturday afternoon.
But where was he in the spring? Going back to the spring game, he looked like he just had no energy, no effort. Looked like he just got it, taking a final that morning. The way he played, he looked like the spring game Tobias today. So, and it looked like the Tobias we saw last year against Cal, where they're trying to force feed him on the field, and he didn't do nothing. He got thrown out because he kept lining up wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, if he just like how people criticize him about lackadaisical or whatever. If he was doing that in practice, he would not be playing. So I mean, I don't know.
I know. So it's like, does Colsey, they had Thomas in the boundary rotating with Colsey. Do one of those become the field guy? Or is it, do they make the field guy Flores? But I don't know if Flores can he be an outside dude to go beat guys up top? And Tobias with his length, his speed. I mean, you know that, Mike. That's why they recruited him. He's an elite athletic guy. So he needs to come alive. Whatever he does next week will be overreaction again. He needs to come alive in these big Power 5 games coming up.
Trash, appreciate another super chat. I don't know if we can start saying if he's the next Michael Floyd. It was just one game, and it was against Navy.
Yeah, Floyd,
but he's got all the potential in the world.
Yeah, I don't think he has the speed. Floyd.
Yeah.
Floyd was a man amongst boys.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll put it right there, Tim. Any closing thoughts?
No, fun game. It's fun to see a lot of good football players that had good springs, good summers rise up today. Did some good things. Hartman. They didn't let up. They just kept going. Just Navy. It's going back to that opening statement, right? Where they just didn't have anything. But maybe as we've learned, they haven't scored a lot in the previous few games, opening games, and Notre Dame just sucked the energy out of them. The game could have turned early with that fumble. If Navy hits the pass, things didn't happen. A lot of things went right for Notre Dame, and it shows obviously in the score, the yards, stuff in Navy the way they did. A lot of really nice things. Seriously, doesn't it feel like a lot of the dudes we made? Like Greathouse, solid spring game, carries that into the summer, carries that into game 1. Really nice to see that continually going, and obviously Rocco's taking the starting role. Tyler could talk about this more, but it seemed like practice 3, maybe 4, where he took that starting role, and he's never given it up since that. Coogan took it right during that second week. He's never given it up. And then, Mike, we haven't said 1 millisecond on the best offensive tackle duo in America because those guys were just studs. Blake Fisher looked unbelievable in pass protection. He picked up this one blitzer late, just threw him out of the way. And Alt's so boring, he just does his job, and he's going to be a top 10 pick because he's just, I'm just boring. I'm just going to knock the hell out of guys for 60 minutes and just do what I do. So those 2 guys, man, enjoy them. Enjoy them. I predict they're both going to go to the NFL, and enjoy the heck out of them, fans, because they are studs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Big Joe Alt fan here.
Oh
Folks,
man.
please do hit the thumbs up on this video. Of course, subscribe to our channel for more content. Sunday night, August 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Mike Goolsby show. You are not going to want to miss it. What does he have to say about Sam Hartman's performance? I'm sure he's going to have some thoughts about Tobias Merriweather. Tim Hyde, fantastic job. I mean, we went live within what, 4 minutes of the clock hitting triple zeros. Goolsby will get probably 2 or 3 rewatches. Tim got 2 or 3 minutes to think. So you're not going to want to miss Goolsby and what he has to say. So please do check out the show tomorrow night right here on our Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Head over to the website if you still are craving more Notre Dame content. Head over to blueandgold.com. Sign up for our annual subscription. It's half off right now. That deal will end very soon. So just $50 for an annual subscription if you're a first-time subscriber over at blueandgold.com. So please do check that out. And lock into our YouTube channels here. YouTube channel right here as well. 8 p.m. Sunday night, Mike Goolsby show. Appreciate you guys watching. Tim, great job tonight. And as always, folks, we will catch you next time.